Ladies and fucking men. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet, and guy who knows exactly what this is, and he also knows what this is. I know how to use both of these things. This is the Kill. Shut up. This is the Kill You're an Elusive podcast show, YouTube. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Imogen, we are. I don't actually know what these are. I'll be honest. Waterproof Paradise Lash Mascara. I don't fucking know what the shit that is. And liquid liner. I know what this shit is. It's like women. It's like how women cheat. It's basically how women cheat when they go on a date. Men just have to fucking be our real selves. Hashtag no filter. Hashtag no makeup. We just have to rock up on the date. However we are is how we fucking go. Women get to cheat. Fucking cheaters. So, how are you? We are going to talk about, this is part 5, I believe, of our 2021 recap. So if you haven't watched the first video, go and watch that. I talk about why I recommend you guys do a recap of your 2021. It gives you more motivation going into 2022, whatever. Go fucking watch that video and give a fuck. We're in a rush if you can't fucking tell because I got a coaching call in 30 minutes. So shut the fuck up. Let's get to it. Number fucking 55.
55.
Fuck. Number 55. I did a podcast with Playing with Fire. Big fucking YouTuber. He's got 80,000 subscribers on his channel. I believe he has a 27-inch penis and $10 trillion in the bank, and he's pretty cool.
27 inches doesn't sound practical.
You're jealous. You're just jealous. So I did an interview with him, which was pretty cool. Like a lot of people had told me for a long time, like, oh, you should reach out to this guy. You should go on his channel. He's cool. Like he does similar content to you. It's all the same kind of stuff. He has the same philosophy. And I kind of had looked at a bit of his content and I was like, yeah, like I think he focuses on different shit to me. Like I just had a surface level look. And I was like, yeah, most of what he talks about is like texting game and, I'm not so focused on what to text. And so I just sort of thought, I have nothing against that, but I thought our interests didn't fully overlap. That was kind of my like cursory look into his content. Yeah. And then I went a little deeper and actually had a look and I was like, oh, like I watched quite a few videos and I was like, oh, actually I agree with I like this guy. This guy's okay. So I reached out to him. He was super fucking chill, super fucking nice. He's like, oh, dude, I checked out your channel ages ago. I was going to get you on the podcast. I just haven't gotten around to it. So we did a collab. He came on mine. I went on his. That was a ton of fun. I was nervous as shit going on his. I was really fucking nervous, but it went really fucking well. Like really well, really well. The feedback was really good. All the comments were positive. I had a ton of fun. He's a really cool guy. We've been messaging a fair bit afterwards. He's asked me for BDSM advice. He's asked me for threesome advice. I don't know if I'm spoiling anything. Maybe he's going to do content on his own channel. But in the interview, we talked about threesomes. And he said, like, nah, I'm not really interested in threesomes. And then I was talking about how much fun they are, blah, blah, blah. He read a bunch of my content, and then he hits me up like a couple weeks later, and he's like, so, dude, actually, my girlfriend and I changed our mind. We want to have threesomes. Like, what do I do? And I was like, that's fucking awesome,
like that.
dude. So, yeah, same with BDSM.
Yeah, it is interesting on what you said earlier, actually, because I think it happens to you a little bit sometimes, where it's very easy to look at somebody's channel or their social media or whatever it is, and you flick through a couple of things, maybe the most controversial titles or the things that just pop up first. And it's very easy to form an opinion of someone and
based on like 2 or 3 titles of 2 or 3 videos.
And maybe this is an assumption, but I know in the past people have had sometimes a negative reaction to your content. And I think if you were to delve a little bit further, you would retract that. You collaborated with, I think it was Georgie Wolf, who initially she sent an email saying like, not sure if we agree on these things. I don't like your content.
She
didn't say I don't like your content.
You're a piece of shit, Andy.
Maybe if we collaborate, let's talk about these because maybe we don't agree. But then she then followed that up a little bit later saying that she like withdrew that because she looked at a little bit more of your content and that definitely changed.
Yeah, that
because
happens
you get
a lot,
deeper sense of somebody's ideology or philosophies, and it's very easy to make a snap judgment.
Yeah. And to be clear, I didn't dislike Playing with Fire. It was more just I was like, oh, this is like different content to what I don't like to talk about text game. I haven't, like, it's just not interesting to me. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's stupid. I just personally don't like to talk about it. I don't find it that interesting. That's why I've never focused on it. It's why I've always just said, like, here's a fucking template. Just use this. Tweak it as you like. See what works. I've just never... I do experiment with different stuff that we text girls, but for the most part, I'm pretty fucking... I stick to the same script most of the time. And I'll add extra shit in there like, oh, how's your day going? What are you doing? Oh, that's cool. You go and study this at university. Like, I'll respond to what they're saying, but I have a rough game plan of what I do and I stick to it roughly. So yeah, the first look I looked at his website, I was like, oh, the most of it is like text game stuff. You know, that's just not interesting to me. And then, yeah, like you said, you watch a couple of videos and you're like, oh, wait, no, this guy's like a lot more philosophical. He's a lot deeper than he comes across. And I think our interview, particularly the one I did on my channel, where I had him on my channel, that was quite a fucking deep interview. We talked about like his fears, like his vulnerabilities, his insecurities, his YouTube channel, like his plans for the channel, chasing a sub goal, how you can use that to beat yourself up. Like, you know, I look at him and say, oh, you've got 80,000 subscribers. That's amazing. But he's sitting there going like, yeah, but I don't have 6 million. And so, you know, we talked about that. It was quite a good interview. He's quite a deep guy, a lot more than he comes across like that in some videos. But I think, and he talked about this in the interview with me, I think he's locked himself into a certain type of content, and it's very clear that he has a lot of other topics that he's knowledgeable about and that he wants to cover, but he feels he's locked into that particular type of content for his channel. I disagree with that, but it's not my channel. It doesn't fucking matter if I disagree. He feels that way, so it's his fucking channel. What I mean by that is I think you can talk about whatever the fuck you want. My mission with this like, I don't give a fuck what you... Okay, that was a very aggressive way of saying that. I care less what my audience wants me to talk about and more about what I want to talk about. And so if there's a point I get to where I'm like, all right, it's time to focus on business now. I'm going to do a bunch of content about business. And if people are like, oh, but you're not doing content about getting laid, I'll be like, yeah, well, yeah, correct, yes. Like, and if someone said like, hey, can you talk about this? And it was an interesting topic, I would talk about getting laid or something. But my point is my content what I feel like talking about dictates where the content goes. And I think that that's the best way to do it, at least for me, because then you're always doing what you want to do. And if people in your audience aren't interested in that particular topic, that's perfectly okay. Like, I wouldn't expect them to keep listening. Yeah. Besides, like, I don't know. I mean, there's always more to talk about, but like, how much more do I need to talk about how to get laid on Tinder? It's like I wrote the fucking massive 130,000 word Tinder guide. Yeah. Like, it will take you literally 3 weeks to read through the entire guide. It's a book. It's a novel. It's longer than most books when you go off word count. And so I don't know what more you need to say other than that. So yeah, anyway, long story short. Don't stress, guys. I'm still going to talk about getting laid and shit for a while. But eventually, at some point, I'm sure I'll pivot to business. I'm sure I will do love, long-term relationships, open relationships, monogamy, non-monogamy, marriage, social stuff, enlightenment, spirituality, shit like that. LSD, what else? Getting a good body, making friends. I mean, I've done a fair bit of that. Meaning of life. I've talked about that in quite a few articles and in podcasts, and I talk about that with my coaching clients. But yeah, like basically I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And I think that's the best way to do content creation. I don't like this idea of locking yourself into a particular niche or type of content or whatever. I can see the purpose in that, but that's just not interesting to me. Yeah. Next one. Fuck it, I'll read that one. I also did an interview with Black Dragon, otherwise known as Caleb Jones. I had him on my channel. That really meant a lot to me. Yeah. That was someone who'd helped me a hell of a lot, as much as Good Looking Loser. And I reached out to him, or you reached out to him, I think, and said like, hey, do you want to come on Andy's podcast? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what the fuck? You weren't supposed to say yes. And then, you know, the moment where he's sitting there in front of me was very surreal. That was very trippy. Because I was like, this is like, I even said to him, like, you're like my father figure, like, you know, in a silly way, like you helped me a lot. And he was very gracious. It was a very good interview, even though I was nervous as shit. And it was like 4 a.m, because that was the time that worked best for him. I was really fucking tired. I didn't get enough sleep, but it was a really good interview. And I was really fucking grateful for him coming on. Like that, I said that at the start of the interview. I said that after, when we got off the air. It was really cool of him. Like that was really cool. Yeah. Number 57. Fuck it, I'll read this one again. These are all pertinent to me. I started prioritizing my sleep. I bought an Oura ring, O-U-R-A, which is just a sleep tracking ring. There's a bunch of other rings, you know. I like that one, but I'm sure there's better ones out there. And that just tracks your sleep. So you can see I slept for 7 hours, 8 hours, any of that. It gives you a little score out of 100. And I started making a game of it. The reason I like rings or sleep trackers or Apple Watches or any of the other shit that tracks your sleep is you can make it a game. You can say, okay, the best sleep I had this week was like 7 hours. Can I get a 7.5 hour? Can I go to 8 hours? Can I? And I slowly, over a couple of months, like started ramping that up till I got to a point where I could consistently get between 7.5, like an average of 7.5 to 8 hours sleep a night, which was like pretty fucking good.
Yeah, for a bit of context, you've never had great sleep.
Like never. Like 4 hours sleep was regular for a long time. Like I don't even know how I functioned. I didn't function. For years I was like that. For most of my getting laid journey, my sleep was dog shit. So shout outs to anyone saying like, oh, but my sleep isn't very good. I can't improve myself. It's like, you can. Please don't use that as an excuse. But yeah, that's been good.
Yeah.
Fuck it. How are these all mine in a row? Okay, number 58.
When we wrote them, we kind of just chunked them and whatever came to mind.
I'll read this one out. You can do the next one is yours anyway. Yep. So number 58. I started meditating before bed and I started letting go. So that's, when I say letting go and read the book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. I talk about this book quite a bit. It's an awesome fucking book. It's basically about how to like let go of negativity, let go of tension, let go of anxiety, let go of things that are bothering you. Just like relax, basically. And so I've started doing that before bed, even when it's really fucking hard. It is really fucking hard. So what I mean is I will lay in bed, lights off, this is before I go to sleep, lights off, no music. Sometimes I'll put music on. I actually like it better with music. And I just do nothing. So I can't have my phone. I can't do anything. And I would just lie there and whatever happens, happens. Like if any thoughts come in my head, that's fine. If I get bored, that's fine. What happens most of the time is I have like a fucking minor, not panic attack, but anxiety of like, I can't do this. I need my phone. I have to watch YouTube. I have to do this. I have to read a book. I can't just lay here and do nothing.
Yeah.
And it's been really fucking hard. The first night I tried it, I basically had a fucking panic attack. And I had to like relax and be like, no, like I don't need my fucking phone. It's okay if I get bored. It shows you how fucking plugged in myself, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, how plugged in I've become. Like, I need my fucking phone 24/7.
Yeah, it's interesting. You do just, because this is something that I'm doing as well, you do just get this. Sometimes it's not even like as conscious as I need my phone, but it's this very uncomfortable bodily feeling. Yeah. I usually find it's a tightness in my chest.
Yes.
And a kind of jitteriness. And it just feels very, very, very uncomfortable.
Like I'm anxious, like I need my phone, I'm bored, I need it.
Yeah, and almost instinctively without thinking, sometimes I'll go to like get up and do something just to kind of switch that feeling off.
And your brain will play tricks on you, like it'll go, okay, it's been 5 minutes, good job, you meditated, okay, go brush your teeth, and you're like, no, and you'll lay there and for another 5 minutes, okay, great, like, it's time to have a shower, and it's like, no, I'm gonna just lay here. Okay, well, you should lay on your side, I need to lay on my side, it's more comfortable. It's like, no, I'm going to stay right fucking here. Okay, well, I don't like this song. I need to change the song. No, fucking stay here. And your mind will fight you on just laying there and being okay with just laying there. Oh, my fucking arm is itchy. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, you scratch your arm. Oh, no, I'm uncomfortable. I need to get up. Like, I need to go and do something. I need to pee. I'm hungry. Like, if you can just kind of like chill and let go of that shit and just go like, no, I can do that later. If I still want to do that later, I can go and brush my teeth. I'm going to go brush my teeth later before I sleep. So if you let go of that, eventually you break through and you're in this place where you're just laying there and you're like, oh, I guess I'm okay. Actually, this is really nice. Why was I so afraid of just laying here and doing nothing? This is nice. This is nicer than anything else I could be doing. This is nicer than YouTube. It's nicer than fucking around brushing my teeth. This is good. So I've been doing that every single night, and that's been like life-changing. I sleep infinitely better. I wake up a lot happier. Eventually, you get to a point where when all the bullshit is stripped away, all that you're left with, I find I'm left with like gratitude. All the bullshit gets pulled away, and I'm just lying there going like, I'm really grateful for my friends. I'm really grateful for my audience, for you guys. I'm really grateful for my coaching clients. I'm really grateful to my parents. I'm great. Isn't it fucking cool that I get to have sex whenever I want? Isn't it fucking cool that I get to go to the gym and, do my own shit?
Because I think when your mind is more peaceful and you remove all of the noise, it strips back a lot of the negativity and the bullshit.
Yeah.
And you are left with love. I really
appreciation, love.
Yeah, I really like this analogy that our spiritual coach has, and he says like he always puts his fist up and does it like this, and everyone is this diamond, and for him at least, he says like life is a process of just stripping away the bullshit and like revealing that, like the beauty and the love and all the good shit.
When you peel away most of the bullshit, you're happy. Like all of us want to be happy. A better way of phrasing that is underneath, by default, we want to be happy. And when you pull away all the anxiety, the nervousness, the distractions, the bullshit, the I should do this, the shoulds, the rules, all of that kind of shit, you pull all that shit away, and then you realize like, oh, actually, I'm okay as I am. Like, yeah, I want to improve myself, of course. I want to be better. I want more. I want to be bigger. I want to get laid more. I want to make more money, of course. But like, if I remove all the bullshit, like I'm at least okay right now. I'm allowed to be okay right now. I think some people, when you say, oh, I'm okay right now, they go like, no, I'm not okay right now. I have all these goals. It's like, you can be okay and have goals.
Yeah.
You can be okay and want to be better.
Particularly for, I'm sure, most of your audience who is into self-development, self-improvement, it's very easy to get fixated on the
all the shit you have to do. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to stick this up there. You can do number 60.
59?
Yeah, do 59. Do 60 and then do 59.
Okay.
I was joking, do 59.
So I have also started doing a lot more meditating. Initially that started out during yoga, that I started taking more seriously, or at least doing more regularly over the last year. And I've always been somebody, I've done yoga very casually in the past, but I found that I used to get very agitated.
Yeah.
Similar to what you said, it's like the act of doing very little used to frustrate me and I didn't enjoy it. And I wanted it to be more rigorous a lot of the time, like proper exercise, so it felt like I was doing something.
You wanted hardcore yoga, you wanted brutal yoga.
Which isn't like like you can have yoga that's more like Pilates and it feels more like exercise, but what I found that was really helpful after I forced myself to do it a couple of times, I did start seeing the benefits of just calming down. And I think I would even message you after the first couple of times and said, I kind of see what this is about.
Yeah.
And that this is really helpful and I need to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Because I think I felt like it helped me get in touch with my body. It helped me respect my body a bit more for sure. And want to look after it more. And that was really important for me because in the past, I didn't really care how my body felt. It was more like, I want to exercise. I want to push my body. I want it to look a certain way. But that was often at times to the detriment of how I was feeling. So I think that was pretty important for me.
Almost bullying your body, yeah?
Yeah.
Number 60, you can read it. 60. I'll read it while you drink water. You need to drink water.
Okay.
I know that. Okay. I've done enough podcasts to tell when someone's dehydrated. It changes your voice. Your voice actually sounds different when you're dehydrated. Number 60 was you joined a gym, a powerlifting gym. Sorry, to take your body more seriously.
Yeah.
You joined a big hardcore gym.
Yes. It was full of amazing people. And I think part of what was big about that at the time was that it was not cheap. And this was when money was okay, but it was definitely still something where a pretty expensive gym was something to consider. And quite often in the past I would do things like say, oh, it's too expensive, like I won't do it. But part of that decision was prioritizing that, taking that more seriously. And by going to that gym, it was probably the first time that I was super consistent with any sort of training and started seeing results. I've always done some sort of activity, but it's never been super regimented. And this really got me into more consistent training.
For sure. Number 61, we started saying every night we will text each other. And by the way, guys, if you have a girlfriend, this is worth doing. Otherwise, you can just use an accountability partner. I tell all you guys to have an accountability partner, like just a bro that keeps you accountable. You guys keep each other accountable. Every night, text each other and write a list of shit that you're grateful for and what your successes were. So those are two separate things. So successes is like, today was a success because I went to the gym, I stuck to my calories, I did this, I did that, I texted 5 girls, I did this, whatever your goals are, Just text your accountability partner or your mate or whatever. Just find a fucking friend, right? And text a list of a couple of things. It doesn't have to be a ton. It doesn't have to be the most mind-blowing shit ever. Like, today I climbed Mount Everest. No, just like, today I went to the fucking gym. I did this. I did that. I did this. Pretty decent day. And your mate will text that shit back to you. And then also send a separate text saying just maybe 5 things that you're grateful for. Like, I'm grateful for cute little fucking dogs when I walk outside that let me pat them. I'm grateful for girls being nice to me. I'm grateful for my parents being good to me. I'm grateful for the forums, Andy's forums. Everyone on there is fucking chill. I'm grateful for, I don't know, living in a world where I get to go and hit on women and I don't get shot when I do it. Like, whatever you're grateful for, you and I have started texting each other that. We've been doing that for about, 6 months now? Maybe 3 months? 6 months? It's been a while.
A little while, yeah. I would like to note that you don't, because I know a lot of people do it without anybody else involved, and they just have like a journal or something as a gratitude practice. Obviously, I like that we do it with each other. I find that sharing with somebody feels nice. It also means that it's easier to continue the habit.
Yeah, because they're keeping you accountable for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just makes you feel good, and when you have that happy, loving energy, you just go about your day a little bit better. Or we do it in the evening, and I find that it helps me get into like a peaceful, happy state before I go to bed.
Yeah. I don't think it matters if you do it at the end of the day or in the morning. Obviously, if you're doing it in the morning, when you're talking about your successes, you'll talk about yesterday's successes, so what you did yesterday. But the reason gratitude is such a fucking cheat code is because gratitude is the quickest way to pull yourself out of negativity and pull yourself up to a positive sort of mindset. And everybody knows when you're positive, like, you get more shit done. It's a productivity hack. It's a feel-good hack. Makes your life a million times easier. It can pull you out of your own head and get you out of your own bullshit, because a lot of the time people will walk around. I'm going to do the thing I showed you this morning, that forum thread I showed you with the guy who was being super negative. I'm going to do a video on this, so video coming, but basically there was a forum thread, not on my forums, on a different forum, of a guy who's being very negative, like very, 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 very negative, making excuses, complaining, whining, all of that kind of stuff. When you're in a state of mind where you're very negative and complainy, gratitude pulls you out of that shit. Like, if you look around and come up with 20 things or 5 things or 10 things that you're grateful for, it's hard to then go like, oh, I'm a victim. It eliminates that victim bullshit, that victimhood bullshit. Because no one's a victim. You're not a fucking victim.
Yeah, I find that after doing it, there's this kind of peaceful sense of everything's okay.
Yeah, like, my life isn't that shit. I at least have 10 things to be grateful for. It can't be that bad. And if you can't come up with anything, like if you literally can't think of a single thing to be grateful for, first of all, you're full of shit. But if you can't come up with a single thing, read the book, You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Best book on gratitude, on eliminating negative thoughts, on being more peaceful, more positive, being less of a complainer.
You can pick really little things too. Like, sometimes
I'm grateful that I have electricity.
Yesterday, I was thinking I'm grateful for grapes. Because I hadn't had grapes in a while.
Children eat grapes. What are you, fucking
child? And I had grapes, and I was like, grapes are really nice.
Leave a comment. Anyone who eats grapes, not ironically, like you genuinely like grapes, leave a comment.
Seedless grapes.
Leave a comment and explain to me why you eat grapes.
They've made grapes
and
with
why
no
you're
seeds.
A child. So that,
and
like, literally
really
no one's gonna leave a comment. Like, basically, leave a comment explaining why you're a piece of shit.
It would mean a lot to me if someone could also be an advocate for grapes.
Leave a comment and explain why.
You steal my grapes when I have grapes. You like grapes. It's just like blueberries.
Okay, this podcast is over. This podcast is officially derailed. Leave a comment and explain why Imogen is correct and why grapes are wonderful.
When you freeze them, they're really nice.
All right, just stop. Nobody likes grapes. Children like grapes. Number 62. Let's save this because I want to talk about a shitload on this one. I'm going to move this one down. We're going to talk about that one. We're changing this order right here because I got to go in like 5 minutes. All right. Number 62.
Doing a bunch of new BDSM photos for our portfolio.
That nobody knows we have a portfolio. Literally, no. I don't think anyone knows that we have a portfolio website with all of our BDSM pictures because they'd all go on there and fucking jerk off fucking horny pricks.
We usually use it to send like pictures to girls that we are seeing or may see.
Yeah, we show them our portfolio website because we want to add more photos. We want to build a big portfolio, and it's easier to say, like, here's our current portfolio. Do you want to do photos with us? It will go on this website.
Yeah, it feels like more of like a artistic hobby sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're building it up in the background. I don't think we have any plans for it. It's not like I certainly don't think I want to monetize it or anything like that. I don't even really want to, I mean, we're talking about it now, but I don't think I really want to like, it's more for us. I just like doing photos. I find them fun. I like the artistic. I'm someone that's always done a lot of artistic photography and shit like that in the past. In my past life, I was a photographer. And I like doing that with girls and with you. That's fun. Yeah. We do like BDSM photos. We're going to start doing more like conceptual photography again, like I used to do. And maybe they'll be nude, maybe they won't. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Any that aren't nude, I will probably just share. Maybe I'll just show them on YouTube or something. I don't know. Or I'll put them on my website or something. Any non-nude ones. Like we'll do some artistic ones.
Yeah.
We also bought a bunch of new sex toys, lingerie, costumes. Yeah, like that was fun. We've started like spicing up. I mean, we already had a pretty fucking spicy sex life, but we've started giving ourselves permission to really get more into that shit. We had a bunch of shit sitting in the cupboard that we just never really used. And we've started using it more with most girls. I bought a cupboard and like to organize it. It's pretty organized in there. Yeah, I got a sex cupboard now. Number 64, we upgraded a few of our Tinder photos. This is a good one because I had for the longest time kind of coasted with my Tinder photos. So had you. I found a bunch of photos that were working. Obviously, we've got some BDSM pictures and stuff on our Tinder profile. My Tinder profile is very like BDSM, very sexual, very like painfully obvious, like literally says that, you know, I'm in a relationship with you. We're going to have threesomes. Do you want to come fuck me and my girl? All of that shit. And so that works really well. But I've kind of coasted and haven't really upgraded any of the pictures. And I don't look that great in the pictures. Like they're just old pictures of me. And so because I can coast by with the BDSM shit. And I got a couple of pictures of you when you look really good. So it's like, I don't have to look that good. This already works. And so we've started taking that a little more seriously. Like we've just started the process of taking a couple of new pictures. I think we took like 3 new pictures.
Yeah.
And so that's been good too. Because I have been, I wouldn't even say lazy because I didn't need to. Like they worked fine. So it's like.
I also think part of that, and it's something that we've talked about a few times with a couple of other points, but we were, I think, delaying photos for a while for our bodies to be better.
Yeah.
When we look better, we'll take better photos. We'll take, like, I'll be in a bikini and you'll be shirtless at the beach. And we're waiting until our bodies were great before taking photos. And I know that's something that you have criticized, or not criticized, but picked up on from clients.
Yeah, don't wait forever. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Just start upgrading now. I think the difference here was like we didn't need to, which makes it even more nefarious because it's like if you're already getting success.
Yeah.
It's not even nefarious. Like I'm pretty happy with our sex life over the last couple of years. It's been several years since I've upgraded the pictures. That's the point. And it was like, all right, time to fucking upgrade these and go to the next level because we never really needed to. So we'll do one more, which is... You can read this.
Andy interrupting me
Not true.
During podcasts.
Do you like that? Read it again because I interrupted. My bad.
Andy interrupting
I never do it. It's not even true. It's not true.
Podcasts.
See? So
yeah.
Read it again.
This is a slow process. And I think there'll be periods where that kind of... There's an ebb and flow to the level of interruption. It depends what we're talking about, but I know there've been podcasts where you do make a conscious effort to interrupt less.
That's correct. Yeah. It is like the only feedback that I've ever gotten that I think is valid, because most people give feedback. How can I phrase this? Most people, when they give feedback, everybody's just trying their best. Let's just say that. A lot of the feedback that you get, you kind of have to go like, okay, that's really nice. I really appreciate that feedback, but I'm not going to do that. Like, it's you don't know why that's not correct feedback, or you don't understand the reason why that's not possible. Sure. Or
I also think you're somebody that's very sure of your direction and what you want.
Correct. I know exactly what I want. How much feedback have I gotten from people saying like, Andy, you should do your coaching like this. You could make 10 times more money. You need to market more, dude. Like, why are you giving so much information away for free? Do you know the number one bit of advice I get is, Andy, your big 130,000 word free Tinder guide that you have sitting on your website, you need to take that down, dude. You need to put that in a video course and you need to sell it. Why are you giving it away for free, dude? You're retarded. You could make like 10 times more money. What's wrong with you? You're doing it wrong. And it's like, sweetie, I really appreciate that advice, but I am never going to take that fucking free Tinder guide down and then charge people money for something that I was already giving away for free when my mission was to help people with this shit. Like and I get why people give advice. I've just picked a random bit there, but people will, when you get feedback, you guys will see this if any of you become content creators, or any of you who are will know exactly what I'm fucking talking about here. You go into it with your own rule book, your own mission, your own goal, your own philosophies, your own likes and dislikes. Other people will give you feedback based on what they think is valid, or what their rule book is, or what they would do. But they're not running that through you. Basically what I'm saying is they're not fully empathizing, or they're not fully understanding with who you are. And fair enough, they don't have to do that. Most people don't do that. Most people, when they give advice, even I have fallen victim to this a couple of times in the past, but I'm usually pretty decent at this. Most people, when they give advice, don't run it through the filter of like, what does this person want? They'll just go like, no, you should do this. And then the person will say like, that was never my goal. I don't want to do that. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would I do that? That's of no interest to me. Here's another one I get where someone will say like, oh, you should have this person on the podcast and debate them. And it's like, I don't want to debate. I don't like debating. I don't like confrontation. Yeah. I'm scared of confrontation. I don't like drama. I don't like arguing with someone. I like to find the good in everyone. I like to find what we agree with. I don't necessarily feel like sitting there and going like, you're wrong. No, well, here's why I think you're wrong. It's like, I don't care if you think something different. That's cool. So you get a lot of feedback as a content creator. And I'm going to say 98% of it you need to throw away. Like, especially at the start. I think at the start is where it's most important. People, when they first start something and not sure of themselves, I've had one of my Radical, he's asked me this quite a few times where he's gone, I'm getting feedback from here and here and here. People are telling me different things. What should I do? And I'll say like, dude, do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Stop getting pulled in multiple directions. Pick something and stick to it. Joe from Passion Unchained is same thing. He's asked me multiple times, like, should I do this or this or this or this? It's like, you almost need to like throw out what most people are telling you, try something for a while, see if it works, and if it doesn't, then try something else. But at the start, you get bombarded with so many ideas that they can't all possibly be correct. You won't like all of them. As you get a little more confident, you just start going like, no, I'm not going to do that thing. You just ignore it. You don't even think anything. You just like see it and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. Like,
very overwhelming. And I think it's not even when you're a content creator. It's just in life when you tell somebody you're working on something. If you tell people like, I'm losing weight, and people are like, oh, you should try this diet or try this and try. And it's just like, just let me do my thing, because it can be very, very overwhelming. And there's like, you've said something similar to this before, but there's probably like thousands of ways you can achieve the same goal, and there could all be different ways, and sure, all of them work, but it's figuring out what your values are and what's in line with what's in line with your goals.
And I hope this doesn't come across as like complaining. I'm certainly not. Like I'm not saying don't give suggestions, and this won't even matter. Like, how many people will see this video versus how many subscribers I will get in future that won't have seen this video that will give suggestions anyway. So I'm never going to be the content creator that sits there and tells my fucking audience what to do. That's like you're going to lose that anyway, because you'll always have more people coming in. And anyway, it's not up to me to tell you guys what to do. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's your life. It's more that I'm pointing out most feedback you ignore.
Sure.
Like you really, because it's coming from a good place. And how many times have I said to you, this person said this, isn't it really sweet that they care enough to say that?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it. Like it's a, I won't say it's silly suggestion. Fine, fuck it, whatever. It's a silly suggestion. I'll say like, isn't that sweet though that they took the time to write that?
It's nice.
There's been so many times where I just say like, dude, that's really cool of you to write this. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate you caring. Like, and then you ignore what they're saying.
It's nice that so many people
give
want
a
the
shit.
best for you.
Because essentially that's where it comes from. They're never giving you a suggestion because they fucking hate you. People that fucking hate you just won't watch your shit. And so it is always coming from a good place. It's always with the best of intentions, which is really fucking nice. And so that's why I tend to just say like, dude, that's fucking cool of you. I'm grateful for this. Or like, thanks, man. Like sometimes I just even click the little fucking heart icon. I'm like, heart, you get a little heart thing. And then you just don't do the suggestion. Mm-hmm. People will give you content suggestions too. Although I don't think that's more like a suggestion. It's more like a request. Like, can you talk about this? Yeah.
I want to hear information about
And
this.
some of those are really good. I've had like some really good suggestions. I've had a bunch of other ones where, and that's sort of hit and miss when people give you content suggestions. And fair enough, because they don't know what you want to talk about. Of course. They don't know what you've already covered.
Yeah, they only know what they want to hear.
Yeah. Isn't it such an interesting dynamic or relationship? It's called a parasocial relationship. Why the fuck am I bringing this up when I have to go in like 1 minute? But fuck it, whatever. It's a parasocial relationship. You guys know me really well. Those of you who watch from the start, if you're just finding my content now, you don't know me at all. But those who've watched from the start know me really fucking well. There's guys who are watching this who watched the very first approach anxiety video I did like 6 years ago and read everything on my log, and I've watched every single YouTube video and every podcast, which is like thousands of pieces of content at this point over the last like 6 years. And so you know me very fucking well, but I don't know you at all. Like, I literally don't know you. And there were times when I felt guilty about what I'm about to say. I don't feel guilty anymore because it's like the way it is. But there were times where I'd feel guilty that I would read someone's username and they would like, we'd have an interaction, and then months later they like we'd have multiple interactions, and I wouldn't, and they would say like, hey, like basically, do you remember me? And I'd be like, no. And they're like, but what the fuck? We talked like 5 or 6 times, and it's like I'd feel guilty because I'd be like, oh fuck, man, like I got to try and remember people. At this point, I gave up trying to remember. I remember a lot of people. I could list you like fucking 10 people, but it's usually like recency bias. I remember the people that interacted with me most recently. I could shout them out right now and probably make their day, but fuck them. And so, no, because I'll miss like 20 people. But like, you get the point. It's interesting being a content creator. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's also kind of weird. I don't like being the expert. I don't like that there's a parasocial relationship, but it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do about it? I guess I'm grateful that people would care enough about what I have to say to listen. That's incredible. That's fucking weird and very incredible. That's very nice. That's like incredibly humbling as well, because you're like, I never expected this. Like, why the fuck? And I'm not sitting here saying like, oh my God, I made it. Like, I'm cool. Everyone thinks I'm famous. Like, but it is interesting. I'm very grateful that there are people out there who've watched or listened to everything I've ever said, because I was like that with Good Looking Loser. I watched and read everything he ever wrote. He had a very big impact on my life, and it's kind of crazy to think that we could be in a position where someone has watched everything we've ever said or done or read or written.
God,
it's weird.
Even the first podcast.
Yeah, no, I cringe when they say like, hey, I watched you from day one, and I'm like, no, day one sucked. So bad. First fucking podcast was like, this podcast sucks, so give yourself permission to suck.
You showed one of my friends the first like 10 seconds of the first episode, and I was like, oh, please don't. It's
embarrassing. Yeah.
Anyway,
all of that is to say I interrupt you a little less on podcast. So anyway, all of that long story was to say the best feedback I've ever gotten is that I interrupt you a lot. But I do that in life anyway. I interrupt you all the time. That's our relationship.
It kind of is, yeah.
I understand from a podcast point of view. That's because I mentor you, and like I mentored you from the start. Because I'm older than you. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm like fucking 12 years older than you or something, right?
Yeah.
13.
12, 13, depending on what time of year.
Yeah, so that's our relationship. And I'm not like... actually, I think I interrupt you way more on the podcast than in real life.
No, I'd agree with that as well.
Actually. I don't interrupt you that much in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more because on the podcast, you're limited by time.
Yeah, you're trying to make a point. You've got something to say and you feel like you need to say it. Whereas in real life, if ideas get lost, it doesn't matter. We have like infinite days to have more conversations.
Yeah, and there is somewhat pressure, I think, also because it's my channel and I want it to be... So there are times when, like, if you're going off on a different point, I'm like, no, I was going to make this point. Like, I'm very... I won't say controlling, but I have, like, an agenda with a lot of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course.
I have an idea in mind. Right, we will wrap up because I have a group coaching call in 30 seconds. We talked for way too long. I got to go. I do this on everything. But all my coaching calls go for way too long.
Go out there and crush your goals.
Go crush your goals. I love you all very much. Bye. Hugs and kisses. I'm late.